think is the disconnect between the government and the governed for you?
Trust. The lack of trust. It's that simple. Because there is a serious trust deficit between the led and the leaders. And unfortunately, that is what we have seen time and time again. And people aren't sure that anything will change at this time. And unfortunately, our leaders do not understand the simple principle, which is what I like to say on different platforms, the principle of precedence. Because you have done certain things in a certain way over a period of time, people will tend to believe that that is how you will keep doing things.
Same of same.
Same of same, which is also why we're having the conversation of voter apathy. Because people have said, like the barrister said, I mean, we come out to vote. Some people believe their votes don't count. Some people who believe that their votes do count end up voting people in, and they get there, they don't do anything. They're not of any tangible value to the electorate. So it is that fundamental principle of trust. There is a serious trust deficit between the leaders and the led. And until we're able to harmonize that relationship and see how we can bring trust back into the system, we'll keep having these conversations. Either it is about elections, either it is about governance, either it is about the polity, or us being responsible with how we handle our democracy.
Okay, before I go to Barrister Ogunade, we have had series of campaigns, and you are saying now that trusts, at the point of campaigning, are we engaging these political stakeholders enough to ask germane questions? Okay, what are you bringing on board? What I've seen so far, irrespective of any political parties, is jamboree. They go there to dance, they share souvenirs. The content, which should be the main focus of the electorates.
Yes.
The electorate are not even concerned. So why blame the political class now? If you are dancing before me, and I know that, okay, I wanted something very important, I should be able to face you and ask you, okay, enough of your dancing. What are you bringing on board? But we are not doing that.
Yes, so that's the second half of the conversation, which I'm glad you brought up, because when we're talking about our leaders and how they handle governance, we also need to understand that in a democracy, it isn't just about the leaders, it is about the followers as well. And, excuse me, it is a two-way street where you have to also engage the people you elect into office. Unfortunately, that's not how we run our democracy here. We just vote people in, and then we leave them to do whatever they want to do, and in the next 4 years, we open our arms up to them and say, okay, you want to campaign, come and campaign. What do you have for us? What do you want to bring? What music do you want to dance to this time? So yes, also on the part of the people as well, I would say we're not doing enough to engage the political class, either during the campaign seasons or out of the campaign seasons when they're in office. We do not engage them enough, which is part of our civic responsibility, because our civic responsibility doesn't just end when we go to the polls, excuse me, to vote. It also continues after the elections, after they're sworn into office, after they're there, assumed office. After they've assumed office, we should be able to ask them questions time and time again. What are your KPIs? During your campaigns, you said we're going to do this, we're going to do X, Y, Z. What have you done? What is the delay? What is the problem? Do you need 90 days? Do you need 120 days? What is going on? But we do not engage the political class, and that is also why they have been able to take Nigerians for granted generally, because in the end, I mean, if you show me that you're not very serious about what I'm doing, you're not very interested, for a set of people that a lot of them aren't even really serious about the business of governance anyway, they wouldn't bother. But if we're on their necks and holding them accountable at every given time, they will know that these people mean business, and we need to keep them updated. During our campaigns, we need to come have conversations with them, tell them the things we will be doing, and not just come as if it's a disco affair.
Okay, Dipo, the National Orientation Agency.
Oh, leave that one.
What should that agency be doing to
leave that one. They are dead. It is because the National Orientation Agency did not do its work. I'm sorry. That's why Voters Awareness Initiative came up more than 20 years ago. National Orientation Agency, did you hear anything about them this election?
You share the same thought?
Even in and out of election seasons, we have complained about them time and time again, just with regards to
taking
various
votes from the government and doing
various
nothing.
Issues, and we don't know if they're even still in existence, because we keep asking, what is your charter? What's your call? What are your responsibilities? What are you supposed to do? Because somehow it's like they're practically non-existent. They're non-existent. This is an election season, a very critical one, and we're not hearing anything from them. None whatsoever. Out of the election seasons, we've had various issues with insecurity and different things that we've had to grapple with over the last couple of years. We have not heard anything from them. And we have people in that agency who were hired, who have been earning money, a salary.
They draw
after they leave office, they will have pensions. And somehow we do not know what they do. They are not responsible for their offices. They're not responsible to the Nigerian people. That in itself is criminal. And that is the kind of behavior that we see across board in leadership positions in this country. Because that is just an agency. What about the ministries? What about the people who are ministers, people who are National Assembly?
Supervising the agency.
So it is unfortunately a culture that we have seen in positions of leadership in this country. And it is really not good enough. Because for me, if you are taking the position of leadership, the least you can do is at least do the job you're hired to do. Do the job. We have people today who are part of non-profit organizations. They do the job. But you are getting paid to do it, and you're not doing it. That is criminal. How are they different from the NNPC? Or whatever they call themselves now. Over the years, organizations like this, agencies like this, who are part of the government, somehow they draw salaries, we have people. I mean, I would like to see the budget for the National Orientation Agency. I would really like to see the budget, maybe before the elections, before we hold the elections. No, I'm serious, because they need to defend their existence.
The National Orientation Agency is actually under the Ministry of Information and Culture. So, and we have a minister supervising that ministry.
And the minister is doing what? Is he holding them to account? Is he saying that, okay, you guys are not doing enough, what are you doing?
Or is he gagging them?
Is he gagging, or what is going on there? But we would like to know what their actual budget is, so we know how much we are bleeding in that particular area. Because we keep saying we're broke, but I think we have more of a spending problem than an earning problem in Nigeria.
Okay, but over to you now.
Well, with the beavers, I think it is something that we need to shout from the rooftops, so that this conversation around voter apathy won't be something that we're seeing on election day. Because I mean, like we discussed earlier, I believe from 2007 or 2011, voter turnout has been on a steady decline up until the last elections. I remember 2015 elections. I was voting at Magodo Phase 1 then. And I was on my phone. I was, excuse me, I was at my polling unit. I was on my phone. And I heard a woman say close to me that, I want you to take Jade Lotte. And then I looked up from my phone, and then I looked around, and I saw that those of us that were under 35 at the time were less than a dozen. And more than half of the people that were there were over 45. Like 20% of them were over 70. I counted like a dozen gentlemen and women that were on proper walking sticks, that were brought with the car, so much so that after they voted, they had to sit by the edge of the canopy. So they parked the car right beside them, because it's an area for a lot of retired people. So you had a lot of them come out to vote. And I saw that, and I complained about it on social media, that we have to do a lot more with regards to the youth turnout, which I believe that in this particular election, we will see a drastic change.
I'm hoping so. Okay.
Yes, I mean we are quite optimistic because yes, I mean we've hoped in the past.
Yeah. I love the fact that we have the combination of the old and the new on set.
And I will say that the political awareness in the last couple of months in itself has really grown, and we must admit that it has been quite impressive, and we will see a lot of youth turnout to vote in this particular election. So with that, I believe that it will be some sort of a game changer, and I believe it will also boost the number of total voters that we'll have, as opposed to what we've been having in the past, which has been on a steady decline. But either way, we shouldn't also sit down and be comfortable and say that, okay, some people come out to vote, tell somebody else to come out to vote, you know they have a PVC, hold them by the hand, let them go with you to vote if you're in the same polling unit, or hold them by the hand, send them on their way to their own polling unit. Make sure that you come out to vote. Your vote will count. The system has been put in a way to ensure that your vote will count. Don't come out with the excuse that my vote will not count, that's why I don't want to come and vote. They've counted it. That time has passed. Come out to vote. Because I have a principle. I have a philosophy. If you do not vote, anything that happens after elections, you don't have the right to complain. If you did not vote, but come out to vote, come out to vote, come out to vote.
Okay, I have with me here Barrister Wale Ogunade and of course Dipo Oyewole. Dipo, before that break, you were saying that the youth were more than ready. Social media for me is the nest for our youth. And you can make all the noise on our social media platforms. When it comes to voting, you need to be there.
Oh, yes.
What are people like you doing to ensure that our youths actually are present when it comes to voting on Saturday?
Well, one of those things is trying to hold people accountable and telling them that nobody counts votes on Twitter, nobody counts votes on Facebook or Instagram. Or Snapchat. You don't count votes on there. When it was time to get PVCs, we were shouting it from everywhere. Go and get your PVCs. You need to get your PVCs. And from the way people got their PVCs, I mean, we've seen the data with how many people with a particular demographic got their PVCs, how many people under 40 got their PVCs, how many people under 35, under 30 got their PVCs. So now we've said, okay, fine, you've been able to get your PVCs, now it is time for you to then go out and vote. And with what we've seen with a lot of youth involvement, with a lot of campaigns across various parties in recent time, I am very confident that we'll have a very, maybe not
impressive
very,
turnout,
but an impressive turnout, impressive youth turnout on election day, on Saturday, the 25th and March 11th. I believe that we'll have a very serious turnout because in the end, I think with recent events, a lot of young people out there have come to realize that, I mean, complaining on social media doesn't get you anywhere, doesn't get you anything. The only way you can really influence and effect real change is by going to the polls, for starters. The second is maybe join a political party. The third is even without joining a political party, you can always say, you know what, you represent our local government, you represent our constituency. We voted you in, even if I didn't vote you in, at least you represent us. Come, what is going on, we ask you questions. So we're seeing a lot of political awareness right now, and we're very confident that we will have a very impressive turnout with youth voters.
Okay, Barrister Ogunade, okay, in all of this,